This NASCAR Betting Strategies edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting sports. Kalshi is available in all 50 states, and you get $20 free with promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, promo code SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Cody, I can already tell we're in for an adventure. I got kicked off once before the episode even started, so bear with us if there's some technical difficulties through this episode. I think the sports books don't want us to put this episode out because they don't want us to understand the philosophies, the strategies, and the overall just joys of NASCAR betting. But Cody, we are not going to let them win. We're going to bring you this episode as best as we can.
That's right. We're not going to let them win, Rod. Here we are. This is going to be a really fun one. I'm looking forward to it. You know how it is. Corporate gambling, always trying to stop the little guy, always trying to squish us out, but we won't let them.
We will not let them at all. Again, this is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. We are that much closer to the actual green flag of the very first race of the season, which is, of course, the Clash at the, I wouldn't say at the Coliseum, but it's not at the Coliseum, but it's the Clash. And we're excited about that. And, of course, shortly thereafter, it's the Daytona 500. And, all offseason long, we've been bringing you news and notes and odds and stuff like that. And, Cody, you gave me probably the best late Christmas present that a man could ever get, and that is word that the rest of the odds have dropped for a lot of the season in NASCAR.
Yes, we do have finally some more NASCAR futures stuff. Caesar specifically has posted. Hopefully some other books will follow suit, as has been the case here lately. But they posted a bunch of props basically for the championship. You got some championship match bets. I think there's 4 or 5 of those. You've got, you could do top Chevrolet, top Toyota, which manufacturer wins, Chevrolet versus Toyota. You got some group stuff like that. You got top 3 finishing the championship and all that. And obviously, now we know the format. So all stuff we're going to revisit going forward. We've got the next couple weeks planned out. And then it's really the season's here. Racing starts next week, right? So we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to start talking about those props. We'll come back next Monday, finish up the props. So it'll be your championship prop type of bets for the next 2 episodes after this. Then it's Clash week, so Clash bets, Clash DFS. Hopefully Tuesday for Clash bets. We'll see. I believe last year they were a little slow getting it out there. We'll see. But then the following week, it's Super Bowl week, right? So we'll do our traditional Super Bowl / Daytona 500 crossover bets. Where, I've already got the Patriots and host of our bet, but we'll add some other ones into the thing, right? So this guy over so many yards, along with somebody else top 10 or whatever it is. That's always a really fun one to do. And then we'll wrap it up with the final 2 episodes of the quote-unquote off-season. We'll pick our Cup Series champions, give out our final futures bets for the Cup Series, and then we'll do so in the Xfinity. Oh, damn it.
Ooh,
I was gonna say Xfinity and O'Reilly, so clearly I sort of had it on my mind, but the O'Reilly and Truck Series. So busy couple weeks, and then boom, we're into it 3 days a week, and hitting shows like we do every year. So really looking forward to it, and excited that the rest of the off-season shows are playing. We don't have to worry about what to talk about. The books have given us enough stuff now, and we're just here for the ride. And Daytona 500 is only 25 days away, Ron.
Let's do it. Walter checking in. Walter Rogers saying, "What's up, guys? Really looking forward to this show. So are we." And then Slow Roll saying, "Rod and Cody, what was your bet your house pick for win totals?" Mine's Brad Keselowski, followed by Rowdy. I don't think we had a bet the house one, but Cody's.
I don't know if I'd bet the house on Coast and Hosamar, but I definitely love him. And then our guy Ryan over at iFantasy Race. I don't know if you saw his post yesterday on X, Rod, but shortly after our show, he posted, "What driver do I think gets a win that's been building up to it?" And it was Carson Hocevar. He gave a bunch of fun stats about why he's going to win. So love it. I don't know if there was a bet the house one. My favorite one, I think it might be Tyler Reddick over 2.5. I'm really falling back into the Tyler Reddick train again this year, Rob.
Well, I don't think I got on that train with you, but that's okay. All right, listen, before we get into anything more,
you went with the over at least. So.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, I can't remember yesterday, so I literally can't remember that either. But we'll tell you why you shouldn't bet the house on anything. But before we do that, I want to tell you, new year, new gear. The SGPN merch store has a bunch of items for the new year, and right now you can get 10% off of everything in that store. All you got to use is promo code SGP. I'm sorry, you got to use the promo code 2026. Rod, figure this out, right? It's on the screen. New year, new gear. Get 10% off of anything. You can get a hoodie, a Racing Gambling Podcast hoodie. You can get a Racing Gambling Podcast coffee mug, an SGPN coffee mug, if that's so your desire. But if you want 10% off of everything, use the promo code 2026. They got to get more consistent with that, because I can't promo code SGPN and 2026 and all these promo codes. Make it one, guys. One.
Well, it's good that we have a lot of different promo codes to give out, Rod. We're promo coding for the people.
True, we are. Speaking of promo coding for the people and just doing stuff for the people in general, there's a lot of news that came out over the last couple of days. Some truck series news and all that. I think the one that caught my attention, Cody, right off the bat, and I'm going to bring it up, is that Tony Breidinger is leaving Tricon, and now she's going to Rackley to drive for them on a limited basis. So leaving her full-time ride and concentrating on a part-time ride in better equipment, ?
Not better equipment. Absolutely.
I know, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Everybody come
no
out.
ifs, ands, or buts about that. But yeah, this is a bit of a surprise. You know, when we had talked about, we went through all the truck series drivers, and we had talked about her in the 5 truck, because all signs sort of looked like she's going to come back. But obviously, you know, not all the deals were done at the time. So she's out over there. I don't know if the funding didn't come through or whatever, but she's going to do an 8-race deal for Rackley War in their 27 truck. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know what betting wise, she's not somebody you're going to bet on. We have talked about her plenty in DFS, though. She's been very consistent and solid in that. I would imagine that'll stay the case in the Rackley War trucks. They're not bad trucks. They're not better than Tricon trucks, certainly, but she'll remain a cheap option, and you know, she's going to have to make the most of the 8 starts she gets if she wants to continue getting opportunities going forward. So, sucks to see her not be full time, but maybe this will be good for her and you know, help her with getting her next opportunity.
Indeed, that 5 truck though, I didn't get a chance to follow up on that 5 truck. What's going to happen to that? We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that we've seen any news on that one just yet. So it's still kind of out there, and you know, Tricon. A lot of these teams, especially in the O'Reilly and Truck Series, obviously much different from the Cup Series. But, you know, JRM, it might be 3 full-time cars some years. I'm pretty sure they're running all 5 full-time this year. It just depends on funding and drivers and all the stuff. So Tricon, maybe that 5 truck is just going away. Maybe it's going to be something, you know, somebody else. Maybe it'll be a part-time truck. Who knows? There's going to continue to be news coming out over the next couple of weeks. But it's getting down to crunch time to get these deals announced. So, yeah, here we are, but unfortunately not back in the 5 for Tony Breidinger, so she'll be running that 8 races over at Rackley War.
Indeed. John Little checking in. Sorry, I'm late for class. As a former professor, I can tell you right now that the first 5 minutes of any class is usually just pleasantries and all that other stuff. So, John, you haven't missed a whole lot yet, so don't worry. I will not mark you tardy. You can still stay, and I won't kick you out. TK saying good thing to Daniel Ty. We'll be back, so the commentary has something to talk about instead of Tony. Well, that and great camera angles. We've already talked about that as well.
Yes, absolutely. While we're on the female racer news, Rod, one Haley Deegan is making her return to stock cars. She went over, did the Indy NXT for, was that 2 seasons, I think? And she's coming back to the stock car thing, and she's going to start back at the bottom, right? We've seen some of these guys go down and reset in the Truck Series. She's going to go down and reset in the ARCA Series. So she's going to be running the ARCA West Series full-time for Bill McAnally Racing. They did post her picture in the Monster suit, so I'd imagine Monster is going to continue to sponsor her and be a partner there. But she was very, very good in ARCA before. You know, she struggled in the trucks in the Xfinity Series, yes, but she had very, very good performances down in ARCA. Now we know ARCA can be lopsided where some cars are just way better than other cars, and she's going to be on a good team. So we'll expect a good solid season from her. I would say stay tuned. I would imagine we'll see her put together some Truck Series and potentially O'Reilly Series rides throughout the year, kind of spot starts or whatever it is. If stock cars is what she's recommitting to.
I mean, when we were going through and talking about the driver changes in both the O'Reilly and the Truck Series, we were talking about all of these open rides or just question marks on who's going to be in these. And Haley Deegan, not a bad plug and play on some of these, especially super speedways and just some of these opportunities to sort of go ahead and let her run for you, right? Get that car out there, get a sponsor for it, get some money, and not let it just sit in the garage. So I have a feeling she's not completely gone from the sport. So
yeah, so it'll be good to see what she can do down on the ARCA Series and then how that translates coming up. Some pretty big news along the sponsorship front, Rod. McDonald's is done. They are leaving NASCAR. They're leaving 2311. They're not going to be part of the sport for the time being, at least. So it's unfortunate to see them go, but always good to see another company step up and fill in the place. And Hardee's is that they are going to be the official QSR, which is quick service restaurant of NASCAR. And they'll also be on Bubba Wallace's car, 2311. Hardee's has a long history in the sport. If you don't know, going back to the old days, they were on cars for a long time back in the day, 23 car in particular. So good to see them jumping back with the 23 car. So it's sucks to see McDonald's go. Obviously a longtime sponsor. I was a kid when I got into NASCAR, a very young kid, and Bill Elliott drove the McDonald's car, so I became a Bill Elliott fan, and the rest is history. Right here we are today. But sad to see them go, but great to see Hardee's. I don't know if you have Hardee's or Carl's Jr. out there. They just built a new Hardee's here, Rod, and opened up the first Hardee's in Lincoln, and I don't know how long we'd not had Hardee's here. There's Hardee's like 40 miles away or so, but we have a Hardee's here. So now that they're going to be involved in NASCAR, I'm going to have to hit up the old Hardee's and give them some support.
You made it. You've made it now. That's just like in any town in California, when a In-N-Out goes up, you've made it in California if you have an In-N-Out. Now, we are getting our third In-N-Out in this city, so absolutely huge for us.
Don't have In-N-Outs here.
I can go fifth. Well, no, you don't. But we have Carl Jr.'s out in this realm, so that big star represents Carl Jr.
The Hardee's equivalent obviously is they're both the same thing. Just one is Hardee's, one's Carl's Jr.'s. I don't know what the deal is with that, but whatever.
Well, it's like Checkers and Crystal, or
Checkers and Rallies.
Rallies, that's it. Yeah, and then Crystal and White Castle, they're not the same, but Crystal is the same.
Something else. Yeah. I don't know.
Zach Masters saying, "What's up, fellas? What's up?" Always love seeing that beautiful Noah Gregson picture on that chat.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the I shared over in the Discord. Did you see the new Noah Gregson picture that came in from Media Days or whatever, where they're doing all the photos? It's him with his driver suit. He's got the top off, so it's just hanging around his things. He's like flexed out. He's looking pretty built. Got some nice chest hair, and he's got the American flag over his shoulder. So it screams America to you. But Noah Gregson keeping it sexy for us in NASCAR. Always good to see. Rod, one more big piece of news that I would like to touch on. The NASCAR Gambling Podcast has reached 100,000 plays over on the Spotify. So shout out to everybody because, we really appreciate that. That's huge. Obviously, not everybody listens on Spotify. Some people are watching here live on YouTube or Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen, doesn't matter. We appreciate it. But that was a cool number that Spotify sent over, and they're like, hey, look what you've accomplished on this platform. So shout out to everybody who's helped us get to that point. I still find it hard to believe that people want to listen to us yap, Rod, but we greatly appreciate all you people out there.
We've said it from the start, right? We said it from episode 1 that this show was just going to be a lot of fun and continue to produce. And here we are 731 episodes later, and that has not changed. Repetition is one thing, but when you spend 731 days with somebody else, first and foremost, that's a lot of days. Second of all, it's just crazy because you think of people that listen to you repetitively, and every single day you're in their ear, right, for at least an hour. I don't know anybody else in my life that listens to me for an hour straight. So for you guys to do that, it's amazing. And do that 100,000 times, that's even more amazing. So yeah, like Cody said, we are just so humbled to keep doing this for you and to keep reaching those milestones. And it's all you. It's never us. It's always you that keep us going. The bosses know it, and we just won't stop. I don't think I'm ever going to stop because I can't, right? This is what I do. It's in my blood.
That's right. I love it. And I'm glad you've brought me along for this wonderful ride. And again, shout out to everybody that has helped us get to this point, Rod.
Indeed. All right, get to the point is what we'll do after the break. We're going to talk to you about some NASCAR betting strategies, and I'll explain why this episode came about and everything when we get there, but you're going to love it. I hope you do anyways. If not, well, then you don't have to listen. That's the glorious part about being alive, but I hope you do. I hope you stick around after the break. We'll come back with more, but first, let me tell you about our friends at Avo. Make more money betting sports with Avo. That's AVO. Avo is the best sports betting tool that helps you make a profit every time you decide to place bets. They do this by spotting arbitrage and plus EV opportunities for you faster than the competitors, and they keep you organized in one place. If you're new to arbitrage betting, you're finding opportunities in the market where you can bet both sides so you can lock in a profit. Plus, I got the cleanest dashboard. If you can see it right there on the screen, it's beautiful. And then if you can't, just go look at it because you're going to be like, ooh, that is clean. It's super easy to understand and to use. You know how I know? Because I can use it. So if I can use it, you can use it. But they can also teach you how to use it too with step-by-step video guides in case you got any questions. Just sign up, pick the sports book you use, let Avo tell you how much to bet to guarantee a profit. You still unsure? Don't know how you could be, but if you are, check out their free Discord at Avo Official. That's AVO Official, and see the success people are having for themselves. Get started right now at avo.bet. Use promo code SGPN for $18 off. That's avo.bet. Promo code SGPN for $18 off. Told you at the outset about our friends over at Kalshi. Kalshi is a real money prediction market, legal in all 50 states. In all 50 states, you can trade tons of markets in sports, including NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, and so much more. Plus, you can even trade props like first TDs. Besides sports, they've got tons of other markets, including politics, entertainment, help. You can even trade on the weather. With Kalshi, you can trade on absolutely anything. Pro football playoffs are here. Who will be the pro football champion is what it's listed here at Kalshi. Seattle, if you believe they're going to be the champions, Kalshi does. They're giving you 39 cents on the yes, 62 on the no. Don't like that. So let's just pick New England. How about that? How about 27 cents on the yes? A $100 investment will return you $371 paying out at the end of that if you trade the Patriots to be the Super Bowl champions. New Kalshi customers get $20 when they use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN.
I'm definitely trading the Patriots to be the Super Bowl champions, Rob.
I'm just hoping that, like we said yesterday, that neither one of those NFC West teams makes it because I don't want to see them. Holy hell.
Look at that, Rod. Look at that beautiful specimen of a man. Noah Gragson. Boy, just if you're not watching on the YouTube, head over to the YouTube. Check it out. That screams America. Can you imagine if he goes out and wins the Daytona 500 and we have this picture and it gets to the public will be like, this is the guy who won the Daytona 500? NASCAR will be through the roof like the 90s once again, Rob.
I absolutely 1,000% love that. Let's give me Hacksaw Jim Duggan type of vibes right there too. So, and Zach Masters said he saw it and it fired his ass up. And, and how could that not fire your ass up?
Fired me up too, buddy. Fired me up too.
Man, sometimes. All right. So listen, this episode is titled on YouTube, How to Bet NASCAR. On the audio platforms, it's NASCAR Betting Strategies just for SEO purposes. But here's the thing, right? There's a lot to be said about betting NASCAR, and it's a completely different animal than most sports. There's a lot of different things that don't translate well into football, into baseball, into hockey, into all these other what they call stick and ball sports that go along with it. And the type of bettors NASCAR attracts is just a different breed, right? And sometimes you can't really fully explain to somebody what it means to bet on NASCAR, because anytime you say I'm betting on NASCAR, initially they think, well, one, why are you betting on NASCAR? Because NASCAR's dumb and they're stupid. But secondly, they think that all you're doing is betting on the winners, right? So all you're going to do is bet on the winner of the race and call it a day, but they don't realize that there's so much more to betting it. So for me, I realized that we've never really kind of taken a deep dive into, and a lot of shows either have not necessarily taken a dive into what it is, what the complexities of trying to figure out, how am I being successful? Because I know a lot of people that were screaming at us, Cody, and saying, well, bet tracking and blah, 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 and blah, 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 this. And, you guys, you can't be profitable. And the thing is that hardly anybody in sports betting is truly 1,000% profitable. If you're really honest with yourself, we'll talk about that in a second. But, this show has always been entertainment, right? We've always given you a menu of choices. And like any good restaurant, you sit down, you don't have to order everything on the menu. In fact, you can't order everything on the menu because you can't afford everything.
I've tried a few times. But
you've tried the challenge where you're like, everything on the menu, please, and I get it all for free. But again, right, just to get back to the point of this, we really just wanted to have a discussion about betting on NASCAR in general, because it offers so many great opportunities, and there's so many ways for you to get involved and get in. But also, we were trying to make NASCAR betting fun again, which is the whole premise of this show and should be the whole premise of why you do this, right? Because if you're trying to become a professional bettor, a professional NASCAR bettor, you're probably not listening to this show because you're not.
And like, think of the Peyton Manning commercial, right? Where he's like, you can be anything. And the guy's like, I can be an NFL quarterback. And Peyton looks at him. He's like, yeah, you could be an NFL quarterback. Yeah. Maybe not everybody's cut out for that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of people that set out that want to be professional gamblers. They want to be professional sports bettors. And that's fine. Like, I admire your drive and desire to do that, but I am not a professional NASCAR bettor, and I will never ever claim to be, and I will never claim to be an expert. Now, other people may use that term if they introduce me, and that's fine, but I will quickly remind them that I'm not an expert. I am somebody who does this. I'm a talking head, right? I give you these picks and we have fun with it, and these are things that I believe in, but not 1,000% am I claiming that I am making a living off of this, and I never have. So yeah. I'm making a living by talking to you about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that part of it. But yeah, that's the thing is like, oh, you don't track your bets. You don't. Well, it's really hard. And we'll get into it as we go along. But it's hard to do that because you can't just it's not a scoreboard, right? Like, oh, you hit 6 of your 7 bets, so you had a good day. Well, that's not how it works, right? Because everything is weighted out differently. And the other parts of it is everybody's going to have different comfort levels with each bet. I might give out a bet that you kind of like, so you'll put a little bit on it, but I might really like and go all in on it. So, well, how do you track that, right? Because I might bet one way, you might bet another way, Andrew in the chat might bet one way, and JDK bets the other way, and Zach bets the other way. So now, whose am I keeping track of? Because we're all over the place, right? And everybody has different comfort levels. Everybody has different options too. That's a huge part of this, right? Is depending on where you're at and what options you have, what state you're in, you might have this option or that option or this price or that price. You might be able to do it one way. You might be able to do it another way. And so, yeah, the whole tracking thing, like you should track what you do, right? And you should set your limits and know what you're going into. And everybody has a different approach, right? You might have so much in your betting account that you're not even going to notice laying minus 150 on a bet that doesn't cash until November, right? Whereas somebody else, they don't have as much to play with. And so that might be a bigger step for them. And so that's where we try to kind of cover everything across the board. And again, you've said it many times, lay it out as a buffet. But the other thing to remember too is it is gambling, right? And there's a risk. And if it was easy to just come on here and be like, oh, this is going to hit, that's going to hit, don't you think we probably would be rich off of just going and doing it ourselves? Because that sounds like a pretty fucking good idea to me, right? But that's not it, and that's not what it's all about either. It's, I was talking to some family over Christmas, and they were talking about the betting and stuff and everything, and I'm like, look, you like to go golf, right? How much money do you spend on golf? I don't golf. Instead, I'm going to sit here on a Saturday and have some action on this game, have a little sweat. That's the fun and enjoyment I get out of it. Guess what? Golf's not paying you anything back. Gambling, it might pay me a little bit back. So my hobby actually could return me a little bit of money compared to yours. That's just flushing it down the drain, right? But we're both getting the same thing. You're getting the enjoyment of golfing. I'm getting the enjoyment of the sweat on the game, the action on the game, or whatever. So it's got its gives and it's got its takes.
And not for nothing, but if you don't need to track our bets, you need to track your bets. Like that's what's more important. Because what's more important at the end of the day, that we're profitable or that you're profitable? Because if you're not profiting off of our picks, then A, pick a different pick, because that might not be the one that didn't hit, right? Or B, like, just learn and place your own. That's really educational is what we've tried to be from the start as well. So and just a little bit, Andrew is late as well. I won't give you detention, Andrew, at all. You're good. And then we'll talk about the actual betting strategy things about this in a little bit, bonus bets and all that other stuff. So, but here's the thing, okay? And this just goes into the entirety of sports betting philosophy. This isn't necessarily just NASCAR related. This is any of us, not just me, not just Cody, not just any of the other NASCAR prognosticators out there, but anybody in the sports gambling podcast or sports gambling space, assuring you that they have the inside scoop, or that they know without it beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is going to hit. Because I guarantee right now that if they knew that, they wouldn't be doing this. They wouldn't be podcasting. They wouldn't be putting content out, because they would be rich and they wouldn't need to do any of it, right? And that's all they would do. And they wouldn't need to write for other sites, and they wouldn't need to do anything. They'd just be living off of their sports gambling money. And so don't take everything that we say as gospel, right? We're not up here just preaching all this and saying you must.
I mean, if it's about Carson Hocevar, take it as gospel.
Oh my God.
Oh,
but I can't control a loose lug nut. I can't control a blown tire. I can't control a slow pit stop. I can't control somebody right-ending you and sending you into the wall. I can't control those things. All I can do is use the knowledge that I have based on what I've seen, what I've done, and all the research that I've done to give you my best prediction for what should happen. Prime example, okay? That catch or that non-catch in Buffalo. There was a lot. Now, there's a lot of speculation on that, but you can't control that play. That was the most pivotal play. Now, granted, you can say, okay, all the interceptions, all the this and that and that. That's fine.
Josh Allen had 4 turnovers. But,
well, yes, but that one play is one of the most important plays of the game. You could not predict that something like that would happen, right? And so, if you bet on the Bills to win, and you're blaming that play, well, okay, that
was kind of stupid.
It was, but you can't predict it, right? You can't predict it. And so you can't say that your entire betting strategy for betting on the Bills sucked because of that one play, right? Or you can't say that if you were on the other end of it, oh, I'm the best ever, because that one play could have went the other way and you'd have been out, right? So you can't control everything.
And then, too, like, so I gave out in which if you've been following the 91 bets in 91 days, it's going through a rough patch right now, but we're going to keep going and we're going to get it back on the right track. Right. But I gave out the 49ers last week, which obviously didn't go well, but part of my handicap really was just, I don't trust Sam Darnold in the playoffs, and that's going to continue to be the case going forward. Now, that just didn't account for everything else that happened in that game. And so it just, again, there's not any sure way to know when you are gambling what's going to happen, and that's part of the game. And honestly, how much fun would it be if we got every bet right? Like, yes, numbers wise it'd be great, but if we could just predict how everything was going to happen exactly right every time, that also sort of takes out the entire fun in it, which is part of what we want to do is get back to the fun. And there's a lot of numbers people out there and a lot of people that will tell you exactly what to bet. And if that's what you want, that's fine. It doesn't mean you can't listen to this show, right? We're just not going to do it that way. But there is people out there, and I know our buddy Phil over at Full Tank with Phil. He does it, and he's got a way that he does it, and he gives out certain bets. And if you tail him, you've been profitable many more years than you haven't been. So shout out to him and props. That's just different from how we're going to do it. Right. But I don't remember where I guess I was going to go with that, but there's different ways to do things out there. And if you want to dive deep into the numbers and you want that deep analysis, there is things out there for that, and people with sheets and people with all sorts of stuff like that. Whereas we're just going to keep it more on the side of, look, we still want to make money gambling, right? I mean, I've got a 40-1 bet on the Patriots to win the AFC this weekend, and 80-1 to win the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks. I'd sure love for both of those to come through, because that's going to be a nice little bump in my account, right? So I'm glad I placed those bets however many months ago. But it's just like, you got to have fun with this. Go into each week having fun. If you're going in, and especially, like, I guess, for the 1-800-GAMBLER portion of this, if you're going in and how the determination of this race and the outcome of your bets is going to decide whether you feed your family this week or not, like, stop, because you shouldn't be doing this. And that's not what gambling is for. That's not what it should be about. And that's not what we're here for. Right. That's you got to get help and you got to figure that stuff out, because that's more important. But it should be your extra money. It should be your play money. So keep those things different, I guess.
And let's not fool ourselves, guys. The books, they're not our friends. They don't want to give you money. That is not a good business model, to let you win every single week and to just take them for all you're worth. And that's evident in the fact that there are those lines that we just can't necessarily tell you to bet at -175 or something like that, because they want you to lose. Their business model is for you to lose. And I'll give you some exact.
Look at Las Vegas, right? Look at all the buildings in Las Vegas, but it's no different than look at your local downtown. It's all big skyscrapers of insurance and banks. That doesn't mean that they're the worst thing ever and you can't have insurance and you can't use a bank. You still have to use them appropriately, right? But also know they're fucking ripping you off and making tons of money off your, like, because that's how it works. So that doesn't mean, right, get the proper insurance, make sure, pay attention, and don't buy insurance you don't need. I'm not an insurance salesman, by the way. I'm just trying to compare it with other things, right? Like, yes, they're built to actually go make money and look at all the money they have to spend and build these places and the people they pay for commercials. Like, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have insurance, because it's still something, and that's more something you need, I guess. Maybe a bad example, but still something you can use, even though, yes, their business model and goal is to make money off of people, because that's what everybody's in business for.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll lower your limits if you start to get too successful, and they'll monitor you and label you as a sharp if you start to make too much anyway. So you kind of don't want to do that, in the other hand, and be the more casual gambler and just kind of continue to make a little bit of money off of them every once in a while and have some fun doing it. So,
and if you're in Michigan, call Andrew for your insurance needs. He does sell insurance. You're doing a great job, Andrew. You're not ripping anybody off.
Nope. Andrew is our listeners never rip anybody off. Our listeners are the best in the world. Right. So, okay. Listen, that was the basic philosophy. Okay. I needed to get that disclaimer out there, because I feel like the honest conversations about really what the goal of any of this is, right, is just we needed to be out, and we've always been upfront about what this show's been about what we've want to accomplish with this show. We're not trying to churn out a bunch of sharps or a bunch of professional gamblers that are going to, take everything from all the books. That's not, we're not an army. We're literally just a bunch of guys sitting around having fun talking NASCAR and giving you things that we think can make you money.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Slow Roll puts it, your number one thing is bankroll management, because you'll have downswings. And some people, this might surprise some people, Rod. I do bet on a lot of things all the time. Like, I am a betting man. I love to bet, and I get degenerate about it at times, right? You set your limits, you have your things, but you're going to go through swings. I'll have weeks where it's just like, I cannot fucking miss a bet. I'm hitting everything. And then I'll have the last 2 weeks where I've not hit much of anything, and things are just not going my way, right? But that's how gambling works. You get through the swings. You have the ups, you have the downs. Don't overreact either, because there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, and bankroll management is probably the number one rule in betting, is have a plan and manage it, and don't go crazy chasing. I've done it before. Might have done a little bit last week after the 49ers killed me. Don't go chasing too hard, right? But stay within your reason and manage your stuff.
And we'll talk about that later on in the episode, but let's get to all of that in NASCAR specific stuff. But I want to tell you first about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog is your home for pick'em entries where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. Underdog is bringing the playoff magic all playoffs long. Every playoff weekend, open the Underdog app to see what promos are waiting for you. How about Ramondre Stevenson? Underdog has got his rushing projection set at 48.5 rushing yards. I will take the higher, please. I would love to see Ramondre Stevenson get going. He's been higher than this total, at least for the last 3 games, and I see that continuing as the playoffs progress. So Ramondre Stevenson higher than 48.5 rushing yards in the AFC Championship game. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5, get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with promo code RACE, SGPN. Rhythm has crushed it in the NFL this season, especially on props. Last season, they were even better in the playoffs. How about 22-12 on reception props? How about 6-1 on passing TD props? Yeah, that's right. Super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or make your own and play with the sliders. And if you're looking to go premium, use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm, use promo code SGPN25. So, what makes NASCAR betting different than everything else, right? Well, it's the fact that all 36 competitors, or 40 or 41, or however many they throw on the track, have the opportunity to win the race. Whereas in football, you have a 50-50 shot at a team winning, right? Now, granted, there's factors that make one team a little more favored than the other, but I will say on any given day, the Rams can beat the Bears, the 5 seed can beat the 2. Right? It's not always the favorites that win. And so you still have to consider a 50-50 shot. Now, in NASCAR, drivers have a 2.8% chance of winning the race. That is one winner out of the 36 drivers that take the track on a week-to-week basis. A 2.8% chance. That means that if you bet on a driver to win, you have a 2.8% chance of that bet cashing. Now, that's not a weighted stat. That's not based on the odds. And that's how you have to look at it, right? Sometimes you have to go and look at the implied odds to see where that driver's percentage of, where the books think the driver's percentage of chances of winning. But all things equal, every driver on that track has a 2.8% chance of winning. This is why when you try to make a living betting on winners and winners alone, you are not going to win very often. If you just go out and place a bet to win the race, you're not going to win more than you, or you're going to lose more than you're not going to win, right? And that's just the facts. And people, when they hear you betting on NASCAR, they just think that you're betting the race winner, and that's it, right? But you can't do that. And you guys know that listen to this. So, I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, but if you're stumbling on this and this is your first real dive into betting NASCAR, the hard fact is that it's 2.8% chance of winning the race. And so betting on the winners, not the best strategy in the world for just your only bet of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the harder ones to hit. Well, that's the thing is it's hard to even equate that to anything because the other sports are so different, right? Where there is so many different outcomes that could happen in a race. And yes, Cody Ware doesn't have the same chance as Kyle Larson any given week, right? So that's where the odds come into play and things change. But it's not easy to hit the winner every single week, and especially at the low odds you do get based on how they weight the drivers going into things.
Yeah, again, and that's really why you just have to be judicious and chasing bets and having huge bets on the winners obviously is not a winning strategy either, because you're going to lose a lot and you can't gain that back if you just keep hitting one every so often. So, and then when you take a look at the top 5 finishing odds, drivers have a 13.9% chance of finishing inside of the top 5, right? So your odds get a little bit better, right, for drivers to finish inside the top 5. But again, nothing that's going to guarantee you a win week after week after week. Top 10 bets, you may think that, and we give out a lot of them, right, because we have a lot of guys that we know run top 10 every single week, but every driver on that track still has a 28% chance of finishing inside of the top 10. These are very, very low numbers, right? And NASCAR is different from all these stick and ball sports because their odds are much longer to win than like if you're betting on the Broncos, right? Minus 110, let's say minus 125 on the spread, or maybe even I'm not looking at the odds right now, but maybe a minus 225 on the money line, whatever they give it, right? Whereas you don't get really very many minus odds for a lot of things, except for maybe head-to-head matchups. In some instances, top 10s on some certain drivers, but you're getting plus odds on these because of the chances of it happening are so long. But again, that still means that everybody has an opportunity to do it. So long shots still have a reasonable chance of winning, especially at tracks like super speedways.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Is yes. Oh, well, you say that there's 28% chance of finishing in the top 10. Well, Kyle Larson does a lot more. Yeah, he does. And that's why he's minus 800 to finish inside the top 10, right? So if you think about that, everybody has roughly a 28% chance, but then a quarter of the field you can't even bet on because it just doesn't make sense where the money is. And people have said that before. Is like, why don't you just go bet on the biggest favorite in the NFL every week to win? Well, because the money line, which is what you'd have to bet, is huge. And the 2 or 3 times or 5 times that they don't win in a season, well, that's going to not make up for all the times that they did win, right? So you can't just go in and blindly bet the heavy favorite every time because that's not going to work out on the backside of the math, right? So, that is what makes it a lot tougher.
It does. And again, if you're, obviously, again, if I'm talking to you and you already know how to bet, then please forgive the remedial aspect of this, but I'm really trying to get to folks that don't know a lot about it and are trying to get in it. Because, now with the Daytona 500, there's going to be a lot of people trying to get in on the sport and they may not know exactly what's going on. So again, like you said, if you're betting on a minus 800 favorite for a top 5, you've got to lay $800 to win back 100. Well, what happens if Kyle Larson's tire blows with 5 laps to go and he finishes 32nd? Well, now you're out $800 when a sure thing could have happened that he was going to finish inside of the top 10, right? And that's just, it's bad for business, right? Now, let me get to some numbers because, again, I gave you the numbers and the odds and all that other stuff. Well, what does that really exactly mean when it comes to NASCAR and how you approach NASCAR? Last season, 60 drivers participated in at least one race, right? That's the 36 charter drivers and then several drivers here and there that were filling in for a week. Maybe there's a couple of Daytona 500, Talladega, some extra cars on the track for that, but 60 overall drivers participated in at least one race in 2025. Only 14 drivers out of those 60, and really, I guess 14 of the 36 charters, because all the drivers that won were pretty much chartered cars. So even still, 14 drivers won at least one race. That was only 14 drivers out of the field of 60, out of the field of 36, if you want to get there. But if you're using the 60 drivers, that's 23% of the drivers in the field won at least one race. That is less than a quarter of the drivers that won a race. Again, that makes betting winners difficult, right? When that low number pops up.
Yeah, that's I love how you broke all these numbers down because it does really bring it into perspective of how difficult it is to figure out who's going to win any given week.
Yeah. And so continue down the road, 8 drivers, only eight of those 14 won more than one race, which is 13.3% of the 60 drivers that took a green flag last season. That means that 39% of the races last season were won by 38% of the field. So less than half, just a little over a third, I guess, of the field won the races, right? And that leaves a lot of guys that never touch victory lane. It's just insane.
Yeah, and all these numbers again boil down to, okay, well now you only have this certain percentage of people who can win races realistically, or did last year, right? But then when you translate that over to the odds board, well, they're also the drivers who are more favored. So now it's not just a 50-50 shot like everybody has, right? Or if you break it out into the 36 drivers every week, now that small percentage has a number that makes it even harder to get back a return because the percentage you can win back on them is even smaller because of where they're at. So it's not, that's what makes it difficult, is it's not, okay, you have 36 drivers, they're all the same odds, you could take out this portion of them because they're not going to win. You can get down to this portion because there's only 8 of them that won multiple races. Maybe you go bet them, but you can't just bet all those 8 of those guys every single week because, well, again, it can't math out to be profitable that way.
And you just don't know which one from a given season to the given season is going to be the one that wins the most races. And I'll break that down for you in just a second as well. But I want to recognize Tyler. He's saying, love the Avs hoodie, Rod. Thank you very much. Avs are just killing it right now. I have to rep my Colorado Avalanche. But all right, so let's take a look at last season's winningest driver, and that was Denny Hamlin. He obviously won the most races in the 2025 season. If you were to only bet on him, let's put it this way. If you were to bet on him for all 36 races, if you were to put $10 for Denny Hamlin to win all 36 races, right? If you would have just been chasing Denny Hamlin wins, you would have won $335, but you would have lost $25 over the course of the season. It would have cost you $360 to bet $10 on all 36 races, right? You would have gotten back $335, but you would have been down $25. How does that break out? Well, he won the Martinsville race in the spring. His odds, and all these I'm getting out of the Fox bet, right? So Fox usually puts the odds out, and you can search it and look up what the past odds were on the Fox website. But I got Martinsville spring. Denny was plus 550, right? You would have profited $55 off a $10 bet on that one. Darlington in the spring, he was plus 750. You would have gotten $75 off of that bet. Dover plus 450. You'd have gotten $45. Gateway, he was a 5-1. You would have gotten $50. Michigan, he was plus 550 again. He was $55 off of that one. And then Vegas in the fall, another plus 550. So you're noticing a pattern here as far as Denny Hamlin's stats were usually not more than plus 550. The books didn't really want to get bitten too much by Denny Hamlin's ability to win. And so that makes it profitable to bet on him when you think he's going to win. But when do you think he's going to win? Right? That's right. The question as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that, and he's one of the favorites each and every week. So that shows you can't, and so you can't go into 2026 and be like, well, I'm going to bet on Denny Hamlin every week because last year it only lost $25. Well, now he has to repeat at least getting that same number of wins. You have to hope the odds are the better odds on the weeks that it does, right? You hit a plus 750 last year, but you might not hit on one of the weeks he's plus 750 this year. You have to hope that he gets there because maybe he's not the one that gets there this year. Maybe, sure, Kyle Larson would make more sense, but guess what? He's lower odds than this, so you're getting less of a return anyways. And what if it ends up being Tyler Reddick, right? So that's where you can't just bet on one guy every single week because it's not going to pan out to be prop. Now there's obviously, if you go back in history, there's going to be some years where, oh yeah, this guy won 10 races, maybe Larson in 21, although by the end of that year, I don't remember because that's been a while, but at the end of the year, I think it was almost impossible to bet on him because he was getting to be like Max Verstappen odds where it's minus 200 every week. And then you're really not making anything even when you do win. So that's where it brings in that you can't just bet the favorites every week, which we really try not to do, right? And you just pick and choose your spots with guys and the reasons that you're going to go with them. But again, it's impossible to just hit the winner every single week. And betting on the same guy every week's not fun anyways. Again, we're trying to make it fun, right? But it's not going to be profitable based on this type of situation.
And it even makes it harder to pick the guy that's going to be that guy, because if you look back into the next gen era in the 2024 season, 18 drivers won at least one race, only seven drivers of those 18, a smaller percentage of the drivers last year won more than one race. And Larson was the guy that led all drivers with 6 wins in that season. 2023 season, 15 drivers won at least one race. 10 of those won more than one race. And Byron led all drivers with 6 wins. In the 2022 season, it was 19 drivers. That was the big year that everybody was winning races because it was the next gen era and nobody knew what they were doing. So there was a lot of opportunity. But 19 drivers won at least one race. 9 drivers won more than one race, and it was Chase Elliott that led all those drivers with 5 wins. So again, you see the misnomer of just betting on the favorites, 1, and just betting on race winners, 2, and banking on the race winners to carry you through a season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, though I will say that if you want, it looks like there's a lot of HMS in the most win categories. Danny broke that streak last year. I don't know what's going on with that.
Not too shocking there.
Yeah.
How many races would Carson Hocevar have to win this year, Rod, for it to be profitable to bet on him every week?
You'd have to. Well, actually, to be honest with you, it depends. His odds are long enough.
His odds will be longer, but if he starts winning, then his odds are going to come down. So, probably not a profitable situation, but I might try it anyways.
I mean, we were the shot, right?
Because we're having fun, Rod. Remember, that's.
I don't know.
The point.
I don't know if watching Carson Hocevar break your heart every week is going to be fun. But listen, okay, but this is why, and just really to get into the meat of why I bring up all those stats, is this is why we diversify the betting, right? We give you the props, we give you the top 10 finishes, we give you the head-to-heads, because betting on the winner is not going to be profitable every single week. And so what we're doing is, yes, we're taking shorter odds for some of these head-to-heads, we're taking shorter odds for some of these top 10s and these top 5s, but in the end, the percentage of them finishing in the top 5 and the top 10 is better. And at least it gives us a fighting chance to come out of the week profitable. And we'll give you the people we think are going to win the race, but we also know that, can't count on that every single week. Now, what does that mean for your overall strategy, right? There's a lot of things that even I didn't understand until I really dug into all of this, right? And it's break-even percentages. And for those of you who really are trying to keep track of everything and knowing what's going on, there's a lot of folks out there that are telling you that they're 5,696 units up because their winning percentage is 84% and they never lose. They have a week that they've won 500 bets in a row. And, you see all those green check marks and it looks sexy to you. And you're like, I must follow.
If it sounds too good to be true, Rod, what does that usually mean?
It's way too damn good to be true because, and I got a lot of this from research and all that other good stuff, but most break-even odds, especially for minus 110 odds, a break-even rate is 52.4% win rate. And that's the average just for you, me, and every other person out there that's just the casual person that does this, right? It's 52.4. Now, if you're a professional, it's more like 56% because that's really what you're looking for at minus 110 odds. It just basically, break-even odds is a 52.4% win rate. So you would need to win just over half of your bets to just break even, right? To just be a break even better. So you really want, obviously, to get higher than that. Minus 120 odds, the requirement goes up a little bit at 54.5% win rate. And then, of course, at minus 160 odds, it's like 61.5, which is a strong favorite. And then for underdogs, like we deal with in NASCAR, but this is, again, why NASCAR betting becomes so appealing to people is because they see plus money odds every single week and they think this is the stuff to hammer, right? So at plus 100 odds, pretty much even money, you get a 50% win rate to get you even. Plus 140 odds, you get 40.8% win rate. You can obviously, win fewer bets with this to break a little even. And then plus 120 odds, 45.5% or 0.45% win rate. So as you notice, right, as these things continue up, then the win or the break-even rate goes down. The break-even percentage goes down, which is why, like I said, NASCAR betting becomes so sexy to some folks because they see this as an opportunity to say, well, this guy's plus 600 every week to win. I'll just bet him to win every week and I don't have to win that often, right? But as we've just told you, if you bet all 36 races, you're still going to lose. So you have to keep that in mind when you're entering the world of betting in general and NASCAR betting also. Don't get sucked in by these huge odds. Now, we'll give you long shots on this show. We always do. But how many times, Cody, has a 75-1 hit?
Well, Rajah Caruth hit it that one time. Spencer Boyd, 40-1 on Ross Chastain was pretty good. There's been some good ones over the years, but for all the times you give them out, right? There's not, and that's where the fun part of the balance really comes in because yes, you only have to hit one out of every 79, 80 to 1 that you give out because as long as you hit one, you're being profitable then, right? Because it is 80 to 1. But yeah, I put $5 on the Huskers to win the college football championship this year. It didn't work out. But I also put some money on the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, and look where we're at, right? Now I have these big bets coming into these final 2 weeks because so long shots aren't going to always work out, and you're going to lose them more than you're going to win them because that's why they're long shots. But when they do hit, when Rajah Caruth does hit an 80 to 1, or Ross Chastain hits a 40 to 1, or some of these other big bets we've hit over the years. It's a lot of fucking fun, and it's shit you're gonna remember forever. Like, I love Spencer Boyd because he cashed a 120-1 for me in 2019, I think it was. Like, you know why I love Ty Gibbs so much, Rod? Because his first career start, I put a bet on him at, I think it was 50 or 60-1, and he went out and won the Xfinity race at I think it was Daytona Road Course, cashed the bet for me, and boom, I've been a fan ever since. So that's where the fun part comes in.
Yeah, again, and we're supposed to be making NASCAR fun and NASCAR betting fun, which is exactly the point of this. But, and so look, to kind of bring that example back home, if we speculate that Denny Hamlin is offered at plus 550 to win just about every single week, as we kind of saw last week, your break-even rate is 15%. So that means you only have to win 15% of your bets. But again, as we've proven, if you used to bet on him to win every single race of the 36 races, you're still going to lose. But how you get that is a complicated just numbers crunch that if you really want the equation, you can ask me for it. I was listening to it in a audiobook form and my eyes glazed over, so I'm not going to make you listen to the numbers, but just know that your break-even percentage is 15% if you're betting on Denny Hamlin. And obviously he did not win 15% of the races last year. So obviously a losing strategy. Talking really quick about the units, right? There's so many people out there that will give you units. And again, I know that I swim in a world where people give out units, and that's fine because that's exactly the language that they speak. And I'll never tell anybody to never talk in units because, people need some sort of, I guess, grounding to know how confident you are. And if you're a pick show that gives out picks and wants people to, know that I'm confident about it, picks is great. But for me and for you, Cody, we've never dealt in units because everybody's got different thresholds. Everybody's got different unit sizes. Everybody's got different ways that they want to bet. And we give out enough bets on this show to where if you bet all of them, even if you bet a unit on all of them, it's not going to be profitable most weeks because we don't want you to bet all of our bets. We want you to just pick the ones you like and go with them, right? Because we're not here to overload your betting card. We're here to help you think through even maybe some of the decisions that you're trying to make, right? So we're not in the business of giving you picks just to give you picks, right? We'll give you the picks that we like and you can tail them if you'd like, but we're not here to say, here's my budget. I got 10 units on this race and this is how you decide them, because that's just not what we've been about from day one.
Yeah. And back to what we talked about earlier, right, is I might have a certain amount that I can bet this week, and you might have a totally different amount. And so to say, oh, you got to have this many units and 0.73264 units on this. And then you're, I got to pull extra money out to do this. And we don't want to make people feel that way, right? If you're listening out there and you are a guy who likes to pick your favorite one of the week, I'll listen to the whole show. I like their point on this one. That's the one I'm going to bet. I'll be honest with you. That's what I do for a lot of things, right? I listen to the Sports Gambling Podcast, the main show. I don't go bet everything that they give out, but I will pick up on, I really like the point that Kramer made on this, or I really like the point that Sean made on this, or the guest made on this. I'm going to go bet this because of that reason, right? Or I was already leaning this way and they talked me into it, or I wasn't sure and they tipped me away. So that's where, and then, okay, oh, hey, I got a little extra money on my account because the Patriots just won the AFC. I'm going to throw extra units on this because I'm feeling spicy, right? And so that's where it comes down to, we don't want to pigeonhole you or make you feel like, oh, I got to fall. And again, this is not a get-rich-quick multi-level marketing scheme bullshit thing we're giving you here. Like, that's not what this is. So it's not, I got to do this or I'm not going to make the money this year. Like, no, again, go out and have fun and enjoy it and do what you can do, right? If your unit is $5 or $1, or hey, if your unit's $1,000, good for you, right? Things must be going really well. Great. That's not everybody. That's probably not most people, I'm going to guess. Certainly is. I'll tell you, I'm not going to unit shame. I'm not going to share my unit. This is not that high, Rod. But that doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if it's $1 or if it's $1,000 or $10,000 or whatever. We can all still go have fun and just have to allocate your stuff appropriately and what you're able to do, what you're comfortable with doing. And again, you have to be comfortable with losing whatever you do put out there.
Always assume that every bet you place is going to be a loser, because that's just the way that this has to be, right? You always have to assume that you're going to lose that money. because if you don't and you're missing it, then that's on you, and you just need to realize that the risk of gambling is that you're going to lose the money. And Brian Twining checking in saying betting NASCAR is becoming difficult to say the least, and it's because the books are catching up and they're figuring out exactly what's going on.
They know, and again, that's why let's have more fun with it. Go in and enjoy it, and don't be so stressed out, and don't be, I gotta hit my spreadsheet number or this. So like, that's why we want to kind of step back and go have fun and enjoy it and have a good time. And again, the way, you don't have to, you could do it however you want to, but the way I view it is, this is a hobby. This is really my only hobby because I'm very busy all the time with life, but this is my hobby, right? This is how I get to, I'm going to have a few dollars on the Husker basketball game tonight. I lost some money on Purdue last night, and I'm going to have a little bit on this or that or the race, and I get to enjoy it. Like, I would have really no interest in that Purdue UCLA game last night, but because I had a few dollars on the line, guess what I was watching? Purdue and UCLA, and I have some critiques on what Purdue could have done better, but that's for another day. But that's what makes it fun and exciting, right? And that's what keeps me interested in that. And again, that's we gotta have more fun with this stuff, and don't be so. Again, like you said at the top, we're not all going to be professional gamblers and make money off of this. There's a few people out there who claim they have. Good for them. That's just, it's not easy to do, and that's not the goal of this show or of us.
Indeed. And Brian making a point that I'm gonna continue on too. He says the unit disconnect, which I was guilty of early on, is not understanding what a unit is supposed to be in terms of bankroll. And that's another thing. Like when you introduce units into people are confused, and you define your own unit, right? Like it could be $5, it could be $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000, whatever your unit is, right? Which typically what most sites suggest is that it's one unit typically equals 1% of your bankroll. So if your entire bankroll is $1,000 for the season, for the race, a unit is 1% of that, right? So, or $100, it's 1% of that. That is going to be your unit size. So you have to decide first and foremost, what is your bankroll, right? How much are you allotting for the season? How much are you allotting for this particular race? What are you willing to spend on this event? And then go from there, right? Then what your bankroll is. And it's really best, I guess, sometimes to just set aside how much you are going to do for the entire season, because then at least right? At least and if you start to get to the end of that bankroll and you're like, we're only halfway through the season, I need to slow down, right? Or right, you're like, okay, well, I'm winning a lot, but I'm still going to keep myself tempered because we still got a ways to go, right? That's on you, and you got to decide what your betting strategy is going to be too. Are you going to be a flat bettor? Are you just going to bet the same thing every unit, like one unit on everything that you go through? Are you going to be a percentage bettor? Are you going to try to go after how much I can make off of this bet to make it profitable? Or are you going to be a partial unit bettor, right? Or are you going to be a multi-unit bettor? Are you saying, I want to throw 3 units down? But again, remember, a unit is 1% of your bankroll. So if you're throwing 3 units down, you're throwing 3%, 5%, 10% of your bankroll on one particular bet. So are you willing to lose 10% of your bankroll if you're a 10-unit bettor? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and again, like everybody has different ways to view the race. Like you might come in and just want to hit a long shot. So you I'll throw $5 on this. That'll be my sweat for the day, whatever. Like, again, that's where everybody just does it differently. And you're going to be hard pressed for all the listeners we have on YouTube and Apple and Spotify and all these places out there. You'll be hard pressed to find 2 people who do it exactly the same way. And that's what makes it hard with the unit tracking and all of that stuff is that's where you get to. So I think those are great points. I wanted to check in the chat. Rebel Soul checking in. Shout out to you. New name I haven't seen before. You guys do a show every week for every race. Well, Rod, as Zach pointed out in the chat as well. Thanks for having our back, Zach. We do. We have 3 shows every single week. We break down the Cup Series picks. So typically, once we get the next couple of weeks, are going to be a little bit off schedule-wise because things are just different in the 500 and stuff. But once we get to Atlanta, week 2, the normal schedule is Tuesday is the Cup Series picks show. Wednesday is the O'Reilly, formerly Xfinity Series picks show. And then Thursday, and O'Reilly and Trucks will often put together, or if there's just one of the series, it'll have its own show or whatever. And then the Thursday show is fantasy perspective, right? DFS, underdog type of stuff. We kind of go through all 3 series on that as well. So hit that subscribe over there on the YouTube. Click the notification bell. We already have the Daytona 500 episode scheduled. You're not going to want to miss that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. So go ahead and click the little bell on there to remind you when we are going live. But yeah, we hope to see you around. We have a fun time. And if you're looking for more like-minded people, sg.pn/Discord, you can jump over into our Discord chat over there. And you're going to find a lot of people that will think just like you do.
Indeed. But speaking of thinking just like you, let's put a bow on that last thought too, as far as, do you want to have everybody in there winning every single week? Because then the books are going to adjust, and then we're not going to have nothing to bet on, because the books will be like, well, these guys are killing it, so not gonna let these guys do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we've literally seen that before, right? Where we'll hit a bet 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row, and then, well, Austin Hill top fives aren't getting priced where they used to be because we were all on it, and it was a great run, right? And you love it while it's there and it lasts and everything, and it's a ton of fun. But the books are going to adjust, and like we talked about earlier, that's how all these buildings in Vegas are so big. That's how they're going to adjust. So, and that's part of what we've, I think, done pretty well over these first 4 seasons is you adjust to things, whether it's in season, right? Fading Chase Briscoe, and then you flip the switch. Now we're betting on Chase Briscoe, and we made money on both sides of that this year. Like, and what we've bet has changed over the years. There's been times where it's been heavy on the head-to-heads because there just seems to be common mismatches or hitting the same guy on a top 10 because they just keep pricing them. And why do they, until they catch up, and you got to be able to adjust and do different things. And that's where be careful, I guess, of, I'm just going to bet this every week. Like you talked about already with, if you bet Denny every single week last year, you didn't really make any money, and you probably didn't have any fun either. And again, like, let's have some fun.
Yeah. Again, this is just all about having some fun. And, let's face it too. It's, do you want to, books will limit you too if you start winning too much. So you aren't going to be able to make as much money as you think it is anyways. And again, like all these folks that are out there that are doing this professionally, hats off to you. I mean, again, I don't have the stomach for it. I'm just here to have some fun with you guys and talk it through and just have a good community.
Less of those than you think there is. I promise you that.
It's kind of true. All right. Well, then let's kind of wrap this up in asking you, is this a hobby for you, or is this something you're trying to do as a career? Because again, if you're a career bettor, use us as a reference guide. I don't want you to use, there's a reason why the Sports Gambling Podcast Network does not sell picks. We're not in the business of selling you picks because that's just not good practice for us. We're here because we're a community and we love talking through, and we love just kind of getting the collective mindset of everybody and enjoying sports and enjoying sports betting as a whole. And so, we're not here to try to make this your career. And hopefully you stay with us, even if this is something you're trying to do, and maybe you learn a little something from the approach that we're giving you and the bets that we're giving you. But, at the end of the day, we're not here to make money off of selling you picks, because that's just not a good model for the SGPN.
Well, that's probably not a good model for anybody except the people getting the money for selling the picks, because they don't have any more information than the rest of us do. Mm-hmm. But that's a whole another story for another day. But yeah, again, like, whatever you take out of the show, we appreciate it. I've talked to people who don't bet on NASCAR that listen to the show, because we do break down all the current events and we talk about who to watch this weekend, or use it in your fantasy games, right? There's a million different ways to play NASCAR fantasy out there, and you can use somebody we bring up or whatever to go in there and use in your fantasy game, stuff like that. So a ton of fun, different ways to do things. The books do have spies in the Discord, Zach. That is correct. And there's not even some guys that aren't shy about it, right? We know some bookmakers and people who write odds and lines that are in our Discords actively. So, they are, but it's still, hey, it's a fun place to share. We found this over here, and this seems to be mispriced, and it's a good reason to be in there, because you can go get it before they change the price and change stuff. But yeah, just in summary, right, is just think about how you approach this. And this is a great time. The football season's coming to an end here. We're going into the long stretch that is gambling on a NASCAR season. Don't blow it all on Daytona. Don't blow it all on Daytona and Atlanta the first 2 weeks, because, again, those are even more unpredictable than most of your regular tracks, right? But try and have a mindset of having fun, and maybe it is a good time to rethink how you approach this and track what you do, right? And don't overspend what you can't spend, but go out and have a little fun doing it too.
So Dark, let's see, Mavuak 2, Mavu 2,
Nailed it.
whatever. We're happy you're here, first and foremost. Dark Horse, Kyle Busch, 2026 champ, plus 3,600. 36-1 for Kyle Busch. We talked about him in the win total episode, so go back and listen to that one.
Look, I was on the Sports Gambling Podcast at the beginning of the year. I was praising the Patriots. I said to be careful, to watch out, because they were going to be good. People laughed at me. People made fun of me. Bills fans thought the Bills were going to be better than the Patriots. That's hilarious thinking back on that. But I have an 80-1 on them to win the championship. So that means Kyle Busch might be able to get it done too, Rod.
Yep, I'm not going to laugh at anybody with a Kyle Busch championship ticket. So again, let just to put it again, to kind of close this whole thing up, right? If you're coming at this as a hobby, other things that you can do as a hobby will cost money. And like Cody said, at least your hobby has the opportunity to return some back. 18 holes at my local golf course cost anywhere between $64 to $74 if I go between 6 and 10 a.m. On a weekday, right? That's not even counting a weekend. That's a weekday. If I go $64 to $77, right? You put $64 into a race, you may get that back. A movie ticket costs $20 in my local theater, and that's just to sit there for 3 hours and watch a movie, right? An average concert ticket, if you want to go see concerts, between $120 and $130. Thank you, Live for Live Music, for that stat. A gym membership costs $40 to $70 a month. Thank you, GoodRx, for that. And then the average price of a six-pack of beer, $8 to $16, anywhere in between there. So you could spend your time doing any one of those things, but you could also drink beer while you watch the race. See, and then you get a return on your investment if you put the $18 toward a race, right? It's crazy.
I might not be an insurance salesman, but I am a beer salesman with my day job, Rod. So yeah, drink beer responsibly, of course, while you gamble on the race, and then you're hitting all of my stuff, and I love it. But yeah, it's a mindset, and it's how you think about it, and that's how I view it, right? Is to have fun, and obviously the bets we give out, we want to hit, and I am betting these whatever I am, again, and every state's different. This state's real jankety on stuff, but whatever I have an opportunity to bet on, and a lot of times I bet on more than I give out, even because I'm a degenerate, but have fun with it. Have a good time. Don't overpressure yourself. Don't force yourself into a corner. I gotta hit this. That's just not a good place to be. It's not a fun place to be. Go out, have some fun. We're going to try to hit every bet we give out this year. We're not going to give out bets we don't think can hit, but I'll tell you right now, they're not all going to hit. They can't all hit because we give out I give out multiple winners every week. Rod usually sticks to as the one, but that's part of the game, and it's part of having fun. And let's go in and have fun season. I'm really, really excited for betting on NASCAR in 2026, unlike the tweet I put out that said 2025, because that the intern put out. We fired that intern, Rob. But
thank God that guy was not. He brought me coffee with no creamer. What? Who? I can't do that.
Intern. Horrible.
God, man. No. I'm glad you fired that person. So, all right. Well, I guess that's a great place to end, Cody. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground in this episode, and hopefully you guys have gotten something out of it, because, like I said, this is an episode I've been wanting to do for a little while, because I'm keep thinking, and I thought back a lot to last season where we kind of lost track. There was a lot of people that were really making it difficult to enjoy what we were trying to enjoy, right? And making this seem like it was anything other than just a chance for everybody to get together, have fun, bet a little NASCAR, talk about NASCAR, and for the hobbyists out there who know that I could either be doing this or I could be going and watching Taylor Swift in concert and spending $120 for really just 3 hours of her screaming at me, right? Like, at least your $120 could return something back, and you're screaming at the TV, which is a lot of fun.
And you get the fun in the community, right? You get to hang out with Rod and I here in the live chat. You get to hang out with us in the Discord. You get to hang out with people like JDK, Rowdy, all those guys over there in the Discord, which is a lot of fun. And one more thing I did want to say, I will highly encourage you, as Zach says, you fellas in the Dale Center show are my go-to reference shows. Listen to other stuff. Get different opinions. Get different ideas. We don't know everything. I try to tell my wife sometimes I do, but I don't know everything. Don't tell her I said that. But there's people have good information, right? And sometimes you'll listen to somebody else, and we'll do our show, and then I'll go listen to Full Tank with Phil, and I'm like, fuck, what a good point, Phil. I wish I would have thought about that or I wish I would have noticed that stat or this trend or whatever. Dale Center's out there, Full Tank with Phil. Dirty Mo still got their segment over there that does stuff. Whoever it is that you listen to or follow. Yeah,
every couple of weeks, I get to sit and listen to Seth and Elliot talk through things on the in-between media.
Yeah,
show,
the
right?
in-between guys are great, and they're on every week, right? And they're gonna have different opinions and views and stuff. And the more information, the better.
Brian's show too, right?
Yeah, Brian's got a great show. So
yeah,
our buddy Rye Cape, check all these people out and get all the different levels of information so you can make the best decisions for you and your bankroll and your size and the type of bet you're looking for, right? Maybe you only like to bet on head-to-heads and you don't care about the long shot winners. Maybe you only care about the long shot winners and you don't want to bet the head-to-heads. Whatever it is, get the best information out there for you. Have a lot of fun. And don't be a cousin Danny.
Don't be a cousin Danny. No. Sorry. That one caught me off guard. All right. That's a good place to end it. Yes, please go check out Brian. Follow Brian as well. He's got great stuff. Loved meeting him at Sonoma last year. Brian, I'm looking forward to maybe going out to Vegas and checking you out there this year. So, all right. Well then, Cody, we have picks to give next episode. Thank you, Books. Thank you for coming through for us and giving us a ton of stuff to talk about over the next week and a half. We will do that starting tomorrow, Cody.
Yes, we will. Looking forward to it, Rod. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Follow, again, if you're new, if you're testing out NASCAR, you want to check it out. Let's go have a great time this season betting on NASCAR. Have some fun. So click that subscribe button. Click the like button. We're also interested in feedback, right? What do you think about this episode? How do you bet on NASCAR? Which bets do you like the most? Spotify comments are a great place to give us all that. So jump over there and share that with us. We see all those and love the feedback. So we appreciate it, everybody. Follow me on the X, Rod, at @Husker_Zeeb. You can get all my work over there. More than just NASCAR, football, lots of football stuff, conference championship, me making fun of the Bills and enjoying this Patriots run. There's going to be a lot of that over the next few weeks, hopefully.
Love it. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find all the stuff that I'm up to over there. I'm quiet lately. Again, I'm still licking my wounds from that devastating loss to the Seahawks by my Niners, but I'll be back up and doing some more stuff, especially around race season. So, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow where we start our prop pick breakdown. And until then, rest easy. Hopefully you've learned stuff. Class is now dismissed. We'll see you then. Let's make NASCAR betting fun again. Let's go racing and let it ride.